Alright, we're going to show you how to set up and run a job. First thing we're going to do is we're going to open our laser cut software, which is this right here. So just double click on that. Whenever you start, File, New, Save Changes. Never save changes to the file unless you're creating a cut file. Now there are two types of files that we use. We can do, the first one is File, Open. So I'm going to go get a file. What this is this is a laser file that's already set up, ready to go. Okay, now this file, when you do File Open, this is a file that's set up. It has all the parts in there, has all the settings all ready to go. We only do this on a few different files for things that we cut a lot of and things that we cut all the time. But mostly you'll be doing this process here. So we're going to go to File, New, Save Changes. No, we're not going to save any changes. File, Import. So we're going to go ahead and open up a file. Say cannot open, hit OK. Now you can open two types of files. Okay, it'll show a preview and then select Open, just like any Windows. Can I import image data? Just hit OK. Brings up the file. Now I'm going to show you a couple things on the file itself. First thing is, on every file, it tells you what type of material, the thickness, what to do on everything. A general rule is, I'm going to click over here. A general rule is anything, for example, these callouts here, those are always engraved. So we don't cut those, we actually just lightly score the plastic so that the markings are on the parts. The other thing to notice is, see how this circle is a complete circle? And this part here has all these little arrows on it. That means that those are all segmented lines, and this piece will cut fine, but the laser will cut this piece, then this piece, then this piece, so it's going to take longer and be less efficient. Okay, so I'm going to show you two things right now. First thing is I'm going to show you how to set up a job with different colors to change the power settings. So first thing we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to get rid of these lines. So I'm going to zoom out. I'm going to use my pick tool, which is that right there. I'm going to select the job or the parts. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Tools, Unite Lines. You shouldn't need to touch this. Usually 0.5 millimeter is fine. It says the tolerance. What that means is that's the tolerance that these lines will connect. I'm going to hit OK. There you go. See how that's one solid line now. Now that'll cut in one line. Now to change, okay, here's another tool. You've got your zoom in, zoom out. I'm going to zoom in on this here, make it easier. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my pick tool here. And I'm going to select this. And then I'm going to go down here to the colors. You can add whatever color, change it to whatever color you want. Click off it. Now that's red. I'm going to change this to red as well. There we go. Both red. Now what I'm going to do is I can use this. We'll zoom to everything. if I use this one here, okay, so what I'm going to do now is I just noticed that this job is not on the actual table itself, so I'm going to select it, push Control Y. There we go, now we're on the page. Okay, so now I can do a couple things. I can zoom to the part. If I use this tool here, I can zoom to the table. It'll show the whole table. So now over here on this interface, I've got the red and the black. I can move these up and down. Morning. What this will do is this will change the order that the parts are cut. To change this, for example, I'm going to make this lightly score on the red. So this dialog box will pop up. Over here on the wall are all the different settings that we need, so you can always refer to that. To do a light score, I'm going to change the speed to 80, power to 40, corner power 40. Generally, power and corner power are the same. Okay, overlap, that's the amount that the laser will overlap where it starts and stops on these little arrows here. Hit OK. And then so we're going to lightly score this piece here. As you can see, it says right on there 1/4 inch ABS. So I'll go look over here on my sheet. Okay. I'm going to go back over here to the setting. Double click. I'm going to set that to 10, 88, 88. Okay. Alright, so that's just a quick overview of that. So now let's actually run a job. Okay, so File, New, Save Changes, No, File, Import. We're going to cut some refractors. Oops, wrong folder. Now, either in the build book, okay, now this is our refractor file, has all the Phoenix refractor parts. Okay, so now what we're going to do, oops, sorry, it's a little out of focus. So I'm going to zoom in on a few things here. Now, if it's not in the build book, it's in the file itself. So it always tells you the thickness, tells you if there's plastic. The parts always face up, so it says this piece would have adhesive on the back, 060 poly or ABS, adhesive backed, adhesive both sides. A lot of these parts, like this, will have a score mark. So it's pretty straightforward. If you have any questions, just ask. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut some speedometer refractors. So I'm going to grab this. Make sure you grab the whole thing. It's okay even if you grab a little extra. I'm going to move that over here for now. And then I'm going to cut some tachometer pieces. Move that over here. We're going to cut a few different things here. Okay, so I've got the pieces I want over there just to get them out of my way. I'm going to delete all these things I need. Okay, now notice I don't see a grid on here, so that means we're not on the table. So I'm going to select all my parts, hit Control Y. Okay, all my parts are on the screen. All right. Use my pick tool to delete some of these things. Okay, now see how all these are segmented? again, I'm going to select the parts, tools, night lines. Okay, now they're all solid pieces. Okay, that'll make cutting a lot easier. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change all these call outs. To identify the parts. I'm just getting rid of some stuff we don't need. Okay, so now I'm going to zoom out. Okay, now the next step is using your plastic efficiently. Now to move so obviously we don't want to cut these parts just 3 parts spaced out like that. We want to use the material efficiently. There's a couple ways you can move a part. You select the entire piece. See that little X on the center? Once your cursor goes like that, you can move it. Now, if you ever make a mistake, like let's say you do this, and then you go to move it, and the part gets messed up. Oh, see, now the part's wrecked. You can always redo it, or you can hit Control Z to undo. Or you can go Edit, Undo, and it'll move it back. Okay, so you can move the parts like this, but I recommend using the arrow keys. That'll make it much less problematic, especially when you're duplicating parts. Edit. Okay, so we're going to select the part, edit copy, edit paste, and then we're just going to start moving these pieces till we fill up the screen. So the general rule is the space between the parts should be greater than the thickness of the material. That's a general rule. Okay, so here is our job on the table, ready to go. This outline here is not the size of the table, it's the size of the plastic. So as long as you're within here, you should be good to go. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna lightly score the red sections. So I'll double click on that. Dialog box opens, focus on that. All right, so we're gonna do 7, no, actually we're gonna do 80. 33. 33. Okay. Then the black parts we're actually gonna cut according to our current sheet. $85. Okay, everything's on there. Now what we're going to do is we're going to download it. We're going to go over here to the dialog box, download it. This will send the file to the laser. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to hit delete all. That will clear the job that's in there. Download current. It'll compile the file. Okay. Now this little blue dot here, that's where the cutting will start. So it doesn't matter where these pieces are on the table. That's where the laser head will start. Okay. Always best to start in the upper left. Let's go over here to our laser. Okay. Now, for example, if we were going to, let me get some more light up here. Okay, if we were going to start this job right now, it would start where this laser head is and work this way. That's how the laser always works. So what we're going to do is we're going to move we're going to move the laser head over to the corner. Just by using our datums. Okay, over to the corner. Now what we're going to do is we're going to hit test. What that's going to do is that's going to give us a outline of the cut job. So I'm going to hit test. Okay. Oh, looks like we got to move over a little bit. I am kind of cutting it close here. Okay, let's hit test again. Make sure we're on our material. It's okay if we go over the edge a little. Alright, we're pretty good. Okay, now the next thing is this material has to be flat. It absolutely has to be flat or the laser will not be focused. So what we're going to do is we're going to use a series of magnets and clamps to hold it in place all the way around. We've got all kinds of clamps and now we're going to talk about focus. Okay, this is our focusing block, and by moving the table up and down, we can focus the machine. Right there is where you want to be for all cut jobs. It's going to be between here and here, but you really want that to be lined up just below the top of that lip. Okay, that'll get you where you need to do. Okay. Now different materials will have different backers. Please refer to the sheet on that. This is clear, so we back it with paper so it doesn't get dirty while it's being cut. Then what we're going to do is we're going to close the lid, push start, and the job will start running.